In this video, I'm going to explain solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. Now, the quadratic formula is x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. This formula is used to find the root or solution, and that occurs when y is equal to 0. Let's use this formula given the following equation. First step is to write down what a, b, and c are equal to so you can plug them in. So in this case, our a is equal to positive 2, our b is a positive 8, and our c is a positive 6. So now we're going to plug 2, 8, and 6 into this equation. Now we're going to have the opposite of b, which is 8, so the opposite of 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared, so that's b squared, minus 4 times our a is 2 times our c, which is 6, and that's all over 2 times a, which is 2 times 2. Now remember, this is what our x will be equal to, so this is going to be the root or solution. Now we simplify and solve. So the opposite of 8 plus or minus the square root, 8 squared is 64, minus 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 6 is 48. So 64 minus 48 all over 2 times 2, which is 4. So I just simplified the 8 squared and the 4 times 2 times 6 and the 2 times 2 in that first step. Now I'm going to simplify what's inside of this square root. So x is now equal to negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 48 is 16, all over 4. That's going to leave us with a negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 16 is simply a 4. Plus or minus takes care of whether that's a positive 4 or a negative 4. So plus or minus 4 all over 4. So x can be one of two things. X can be equal to negative 8 plus 4 over 4, or x can be equal to negative 8 minus 4 over 4. So negative 8 plus 4 would leave us with a negative 4 over 4, which is simply a negative 1. Negative 8 minus 4 will be a negative 12 over 4, which will leave us with a negative 3. So x is equal to negative 1 or negative 3. And those would be the solutions to our original quadratic of 2x squared plus 8x plus 6 equals 0. Let's look at one more example. To start, we want one side of this equation to be equal to 0. So we're going to move the 3 over to the other side. So we're going to subtract the 3 from the right and subtract the 3 from the left. That's going to leave us with x squared plus 4x minus 3 equals 0. Our a is equal to a positive 1, our b is equal to a positive 4, and our c is equal to a negative 3. Because remember, a quadratic equation is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So since we're subtracting one of those terms, it's really a negative when it comes to the quadratic formula. So now we just have to plug in a, b, and c into our formula. X is equal to the opposite of b, so that would be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 4 squared, minus 4 times 1, which is a, times the negative 3, which is c, and that's going to be all over 2 times a, which is a positive 1. Simplifying this, we're going to get negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared, which is 16, minus 4 times 1 is 4, times a negative 3 is a negative 12. So we're subtracting a negative 12. So we're really adding a positive 12. And that's all over 2 times 1, which is just 2. Simplifying even more, we're going to have that negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 12 would leave us with 28, all over a positive 2. So now we have that x equals either negative 4 plus the square root of 28 all over 2, or negative 4 minus the square root of 28 all over 2. The square root of 28 is approximately 5.3, or 5 3/10. So I'm just going to change this to 5.3 and change this to 5.3. So now we have negative 4 plus 5.3 over 2. So negative 4 plus 5.3 is 1.3. Divide that by 2, and you're going to get approximately 0.65, or 65 hundredths. Or x is going to be negative 4 minus a 5.3 would give us a negative 9.3. Divide that by 2, and we're going to get negative 4.65. So x is either equal to 0.65 or negative 4.65, and those are our roots to our original equation of x squared plus 4x equals 3. And that is how to use the quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation.